Welcome everybody once again to uniquedrops.com, ask for it by name, the weekly drops.
Weekly Discourse.
Weekly Discourse.
You were that close.
He'll get it. He'll get it eventually.
So
this is my rebellion.
Hashtag
that I had a better name. But anyway, we're here today. I am your host, Dan P. with uniquedrops.com, ask for it by name. I am joined with Chris. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Dan.
Hey. I'm also joined with John. What's up, John?
We're all attached to each other
Anyway,
right
moving
now.
on.
Wow.
We're going to start off with some bangers. We're going to look at, I guess, the big news of the week
Is?
Warhammer action figures. No,
Yeah,
I mean,
boy.
well, that is really cool. Warhammer action figures are coming from Bandai.
Whoop whoop.
Look on thefoosh.com. That's and also actually anywhere.
Can't wait to get my hands on those space robot fascists.
They're not robots, Chris. They're genetically modified humans. They have several hearts.
They also serve.
Tell me-
They serve the God Emperor.
Tell me more, please.
They have a lot of different organs because they grow them.
What's a Chaos Space Marine?
So Chaos is
It's
He
happening.
can get in. We can go down this.
Get
Chaos
in the
is-
lore, baby.
Chaos is basically the corruption of space, and it's just basically the devil. And some Space Marines got corrupted with Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with the Horus Heresy,
Yes.
in Horus, one of the first Primarch rebelled against the Emperor because he thought he was corrupted by Chaos, even though Horus was actually the one that was corrupted.
Oh, fucking Horus.
A bunch of the Space Marines got infected with Chaos, and the Emperor almost died and actually has been in hiding for, I don't know, a millennia? Or
Because that was
something.
30K.
Nobody's actually seen the Emperor for like 10,000 years, the Emperor of Man.
Yeah,
And he lives off the sacrifice of psychers, which are people with psychic abilities.
Was it 1,000 a day that are being sacrificed
Something like
to him?
that.
Something
yeah,
crazy like that.
It's a pretty crazy amount
yeah,
of
sustained by his throne.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Dune.
yeah, and then they use like psychic abilities to communicate through space and time, so that you can have communication from long distances, which is kind of cool because a lot of other sci-fi settings just go like, yeah, we're just talking, whatever, we're just radio communications, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, when they go through warp, they're basically I'm probably getting this wrong, but they're being exposed to chaos in some kind of way, and that's if you're in warp for too long, that's one of the disadvantages, that you could be exposed to basically chaos.
Wasn't the Emperor essentially the consciousness of like every psyker ever before he lived?
Yeah, he's kind of like a little bit like Serpentor, like the culmination of all like great people.
Yeah, before him.
Apparently, I think he was also alive for like thousands of years
Yeah,
before
yeah.
he ascended, and he waited for his time to ascend.
Yeah.
Kind of the whole
He didn't want to.
well, of course, no great.
And
person
he decreed that Space Marines can only be dudes.
Yes, Space Marines can only be dudes. They're also really, really big.
Yes,
They're
they are.
taller than regular
Big
people.
boys.
They also have no genitalia, which kind of converts to the whole that they're angels, because angels don't have penises or vaginas. They don't have genitalia.
Never checked.
They're heavily armed angels who are more machine than men and more men than machine.
They're not machines.
I like the ones that are, though, that they just take their whole body and they're just like, your brain is now in a giant mech.
Yeah. And
Speaking of emperors,
and there's no religion. Speaking of no God, or maybe there is a God at the end of the light of the tunnel. In real life news, because we talk about that sometimes on this podcast, the Emperor of Mankind is going through impeachment, or at least the very preliminary parts of impeachment. I don't think they've, as of this recording on Thursday the 26th, I don't think they've officially filed impeachment. They're only doing whatever preliminary stuff
Yeah.
they have, probably of some kind of form.
Filings and announcements.
They're doing the bureaucracy.
They have to set up an account. They can use their Google account or Facebook account to sign in.
Can I just log into my Twitter account?
I got.
Fuck that.
I have One Touch for PayPal. Can I just use that?
Yeah, so the Cheeto-in-Chief, Donald Trump, is being investigated, or the big scandal.
The latest.
The latest scandal, but the scandal that seems to have very concrete evidence. You know, even with the Russian collusion stuff, there was a lot of like, you know, maybe it wasn't there wasn't hard exact evidence. But this is pretty exact evidence of our head of state asking another head of state for a political favor in having an advantage against a domestic opponent, which is very beyond the pale of any kind of decorum in our civil society. We live in a society.
We do. Jesus Christ! It was.
You're complaining, and yet you partake in society.
I want climate change, yet I drive a car.
Curious.
It was. You know, we've talked about this before, and the fact is that there's always been the wiggle room in a lot of these cases. But when the person who is bragging about how they didn't break the law says, "I've got the transcript that shows I didn't break the law," and then releases the transcript that says, "I broke the law."
They didn't even release
it
a
wasn't even a
transcript. They
transcript.
released a summary.
That's right, a
That
summary.
basically shows how
Yeah.
they broke the law.
Yeah.
A summary of my crime.
And then they asked for a recall message,
They did
which
the
is
talking
always
points,
the
yes.
hilarious
Oh,
thing
yeah.
on
you
on
don't
Outlook.
CC all and then recall your message.
on Outlook when the fucking that one guy's just like, "Fuck, we'd like to recall this message." I say no. This lives on forever.
Yeah, listed all the talking points.
Incredible amounts of ineptitude on display.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's taken longer than we thought, but it seems like the Dems actually have a little bit of a spine when push comes to shove. At least the senior leadership of the Dems. I guess we just needed to catch him completely outright admitting to
With his-
Yeah.
We needed him saying "dick fell out" to actually do something about it.
I am breaking a law currently. Psych. Here's a summary saying I'm breaking a law currently. I mean, recall.
It reminds me of that Dave Chappelle sketch from Chappelle's Show where he's a potential juror in the R. Kelly trial, and he's like, "I need this. If it's an actual video with 3 forms of ID,
And my
and his
grandma.
grandma calling him out."
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this and you're surprised that we are not fans of the Cheeto-in-Chief, well, thank you for listening to the podcast. I would like you to stop listening and unsubscribe from this podcast and never listen to us again, you Trump-tard.
Goodbye.
Excuse me, I should have not used that.
That was
The
strong language.
second half
Crude.
of it was
Crude.
I'd like to recall that message.
Hashtag
Well played.
on brand.
Also, in real life news, John is digitizing his physical movie library. Well, that's a jump.
Yeah, that was
From
smooth,
impeachment.
smooth transition, Dan.
We had a better
Impeachment
like
of-
butter.
I could have said there was a better transition there, but
Like
we'd be jumping between topics. So
But the impeachment of the
good.
so-called
It was
leader
good.
of the free world
so-called. I like that.
SOCOM?
to digitizing
A digital library.
SOCOM leader of the free world. That
Uh-huh.
doesn't make any sense.
No.
Digitizing
what we're here
your
for?
physical movie library. Hey, John, how's it going? You've been working at this all week.
It takes a long time to digitize.
Real tough work.
Well, it's
Just having a hard day.
it's not hard. It's just it's time consuming
Oh, okay.
is what it is.
Well, what are you doing exactly?
So first things first, I went through all of my discs or not all of them, but at least half of my Blu-rays, and found all the digital codes where the ones that come with digital copies. Redeemed all those. So for all the streaming services I have, this one actually, because there's
How many different accounts did you have to make up?
it's only one, because I was able to redeem everything on almost everything on Movies Anywhere, even all the ones that were like old UV codes and weird websites.
Movies Anywhere sounds like a website I wouldn't want to click on because there's viruses.
I used those codes from my Disney collection,
Uh-huh.
and those expire.
Mine, all of my codes have
You activate it,
Yeah.
but you only get like 1 year to
None of
watch.
these said. These are just okay.
Telling you my experience, it wasn't a good one because then we went to watch the movie again. It was still on my iPad, and it said your license has expired.
Well then,
Yeah.
this also helps because I'm digitizing these movies.
Correct.
So it's just it was
Digitizing
redundancies.
digital
Yeah.
movies.
Don't throw those out just yet.
No, I'm not. I was. It was never the plan to get rid of my Blu-rays. It is just the plan to have easy access to that stuff in one place. And in case-
Restarting Ninja Video.
When's the Plex server going up?
that was also the plan.
Yeah.
So
Restarting Ninja Video, baby.
I have completed.
What? You don't know Ninja Video?
What's
Oh,
Ninja
I know
Video?
Ninja Video.
Scarecrow Video. I don't know.
Ninja
What's
Video used to be one of the premier sketchy streaming sites of of any kind of movie.
Quasi-legal.
Ooh, no,
Not quasi-legal, completely illegal.
Yeah.
Every so often you would go to that site and they were down because they had to move servers to a different country.
Let's put it this way.
And every so often your computer would be like, I think there's a virus. And you're like, I'm pretty sure there is, but I want to watch Paranormal Activity.
Let's put it this way.
It's worth the risk.
A few of the founders did jail time and still have a Facebook page, I believe, where like the main founder still posts on occasion.
He's like, I got
she
away.
Is a woman who actually was.
She's like, I got away with it, bitch.
But yeah, she did time. She paid fines. But yes,
So you're digitizing.
it is. I am. It is a slow process.
What program are you using?
There's actually two you have to use for blue, or there's two that you should use because what you should actually all the stuff I read recommends you have to use one program to rip the video off of the Blu-ray disc.
Handbrake.
That's the second program.
What? What's the first one?
Make MKV.
Nero.
So Make MKV is a pretty straightforward program. You put the disc in your Blu-ray drive. It reads it. You click on the disc menu. It brings up all of the title, like all of the actual video files, and then you select the ones you want to rip. The movie itself is generally just the largest file,
Right.
so you select that one, and then it rips it into an MKV, and then from there you take that into Handbrake, and then you do the encoding and convert it to a smaller file size. So
Compression?
Yeah.
You're losing all the detail, John.
I'm using the fast 1080p.
No, I need the MKV file for those warmer tones.
You want the 30 gigabyte file for each of the
Listen,
Blu-ray?
baby.
No, I'm not that crazy. This is
You got 8 terabytes, John. It's
You
not.
know the disk icon of Nero is a burning
Uh-huh.
disk because it's burning ROM. Burning ROM.
Yep. He's got it.
Rome?
Because it's ROM. Right?
Nero.
Oh!
Nero.
I get it.
You got
Phoenix down.
I just was burning disc, and I
Phoenix
was like,
down.
Rome?
It's a feather down.
it. Down feather.
But it's also Phoenix.
Yeah.
It's the down.
It's a bird.
Yeah.
Bird feather.
Ash Ketchum.
Is this a video game thing?
Ash,
I don't get those.
Ash Ketchum.
Pokemans?
Miles
Go play your Nintendos.
Prower.
Yeah, miles per hour. You got that?
All right, so
But yes.
MKV into Handbrake.
You take the file that it
How much compression? 30 down to
3. Like it's 90% compression.
so 90% bad. Is that what I'm hearing?
no, it looks.
So it's basically SD quality.
no. We can't
go back, Chris.
I've looked at the
5.1
video
surround
files.
sound down to mono.
No, it's all 5.1. It
Looks like a
converts it.
Handycam.
No, I'm telling you, It
Shaky
looks good.
Handycam.
I'll show you the videos, Chris.
All right, yeah, we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Moving on. So in media,
It just takes a long time.
me and John have been So I guess
Takes time, Dan.
how
Per disc.
well no.
Okay.
How far are you in? How many movies have you illegally ripped off of Blu-rays?
Into
Not illegal. These are legal backups. I own the copies. I'm allowed to do this.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to tell yourself. How long does it take you to rip these things?
How many
Legally.
How many of your collection have you?
I've gotten through all of the MCU movies, so about what is that? 20.
72.
So probably gotten through about 30 movies total. So
How
long?
much do you have left?
a lot.
All right.
The thing is
All of
though
them.
is that what I'm planning on doing with some of them that don't require 1080p is I'm going to rip them at 720
Into
like
YouTube.
comedies and things
Oh.
like that. So stuff that doesn't need high visual quality, like Major League. I don't think I need that in 1080p. I don't need Step Brothers or Pineapple Express in 1080p
Speak
quality.
for yourself.
I mean, I do have one last comment with regards
Seth
to this.
Rogen's hair comes to life in 1080p.
Pineapple Express is a movie that started off really well, and then the last 45 minutes
Got weird.
It's just really long.
Sounds like my life.
Just needs to end.
That was dark.
Wow.
I didn't.
That's where I was going.
That's where
Yeah,
That's where you went.
That's where I was going.
But
So, last thing I will say
Impeachment.
is that I am glad that at least digital copies of movies have become mostly standardized. They give you a slip of paper with a code. But some of the older Blu-rays I have, they're like, hey, it comes with a digital copy. And I open it up, and it was a CD in there. And the CD had instructions. It's like, here's how you get your digital copy. You insert this disc into your drive, and then you enter in this code, and it unlocks it for you. And I'm just like, that seems dumb. I'm just going to rip this Blu-ray version of it and then take that video file instead.
correct.
I think I only have one device that has a disk drive right now.
Hi.
Because my Surface doesn't have one.
Your
My
PlayStation.
computer doesn't have one, but my PlayStation 4 has a.
So you're
Has a
ripping
disk
on your
drive.
PlayStation, is what I'm hearing.
Uh,
Sony's going to be hearing.
my
Dan's gonna be hearing from
PlayStation, my
Sony.
PlayStation is probably overjoyed to know that I'm using it because I haven't touched that thing since.
When you last
Red
You
Dead.
Red Dead
pretended
2.
you were going to play Nier Automata?
I have the disc.
See?
I look at it.
You know, Dan, have
My
faith.
friend who I bought it from is like, you do it yet? You play it yet?
It's a good game.
No,
You should play that game.
I'm pretty sure.
It's in my
there.
top 4 of 2010s.
We're not there yet. So in media, me and John have been watching Succession.
Or as I like
which
to
is-
call it, Brian Cox on display for all to see.
It is a HBO series. It's currently in its second season. Second season is quite good. But we're like the last half
Halfway.
of the first season. So John, what's your impressions
Is that the one where that guy wants to take over his dad's Halloween
so
store?
Succession is basically Brian Cox is Rupert Murdoch. Well,
Yep.
he's not Rupert Murdoch, but he owns a media conglomerate,
Halloween store.
not unlike Fox.
Right.
A Halloween store, because there's a bunch of people wearing costumes in there,
Halloween.
But,
faking that they're conservatives to make
but
money.
he's the really old CEO, and he has several kids that want to basically take over. And so
Succeed him?
Yeah, and
Do we
so
think they all want to take over, though?
I'm pretty sure.
All of them? Okay.
Well,
okay.
maybe not Connor.
Yeah.
I think it's alluded to that he doesn't have the same mom as the 3 kids. I think it's kind of alluded.
Really? So the
Uh-oh.
oldest?
Yeah, I think there's
Huh.
I think he might have had a wife before.
Okay.
But they don't explicitly say.
Okay.
But anyway, so so his middle child, kind of largely the focus of season 1, was kind of being groomed to be the next guy. Brian Cox suffers a health malady, and before that happened, he basically said, "No, I think I'm just gonna carry on for I don't know, probably indefinitely."
Ever.
And so we just watched the episode where he tries to vote out his dad
The middle
from
son, yeah.
from the board and fails spectacularly
Oh, boy.
because Brian Cox is an old media guy and he's fuck you. He says fuck off quite a lot.
Yeah.
He says and he's actually pretty great. Not as a person.
None of
the
these
character.
people are great as people,
Yeah,
Dan.
it's actually quite strange to have that I like this series because I normally don't like series where I don't have some kind of sympathies to one or more of the characters.
None of these people
None of them are very redeemable. Some of them
No.
have some humanity.
Uh-huh.
They're complex characters. That's what actually makes it good, and they're good actors and actresses. And
Except
stuff
Greg.
Like that. I'm pretty sure that guy in real life is probably like, yeah.
Sure.
So they're insanely rich. Like when you watch the show, like you think about what rich is in your mind, and you remember that there are more levels to that, like prestige levels that you can't even think of.
They're what Chris Rock used in his routine where he said, Shaq is rich. Those white men are wealthy.
Yeah, these are the kind of people that like, I could still walk away with this with like $400 million, and they want to commit suicide.
Tangent, real quick. I saw that somebody posted there's a Bill Gates calculator online where you can put in
I saw that.
like a shopping, like the latest example was like there's 32 teams in the NFL. They're worth $3 billion each. Bill Gates could buy the whole NFL for
Yeah.
like $900 million.
And still have money left over.
and he has still like 70% of his wealth.
Yeah.
It was like 100 Mercedes or 100 Ferraris and 100 Lamborghinis. You didn't even make a dent in how much wealth he has.
Yeah.
You didn't even notice.
That's why he's like, I'm not even concerned about getting a new car. Like, I'm trying to cure malaria.
Right.
Because there's nothing else to do. Like, what? I mean, you can buy all the cars. There's not enough cars.
I will say that at least he's like, hey, let's do something with this money that might benefit humanity. Whereas we've got good old boy Bezos, who's like, I need to get off the planet.
Space.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, didn't mean to take you out of that, but
the one thing Gates does well is that I don't know if he's genuinely a nice guy, but he's definitely gives that persona, and he shuts up.
Yeah.
Yep.
He doesn't talk too much.
No, he kind of
the
does.
only thing that
does
the only thing that you hear about him is when he's actually like wants you to have this message. There's no off the cuff kind of Elon Musk kind of stuff. Like there's nothing like that.
No.
Like it's if you're a CEO and you want people to like you, you should probably just shut up. Like, I mean, just don't talk so much.
So highlights of the show.
Yeah, what's highlights of the show?
Brian Cox in
Brian
every
Cox
scene.
Brian Cox is amazing.
Kieran Culkin, the
younger brother
of Macaulay, who has gone on to a much more successful acting career, I would say, than his older brother.
Yeah, he's a great actor, and he's so disgusting.
Oh,
slimy.
he is.
He's the worst, but he has like the best one-liners, and they're all terrible.
Yep.
He's a terrible, terrible person, but
he has no filter in that show.
But it's so good.
Yeah.
It's fun because there's a little bit of theater of like just you want these people to all just fail,
burn.
But they're also just devilishly charming in a horrible way. There's one part they're having Thanksgiving, and I was remarking that nope, I don't care how much money you have, I would not want to be in that family. Like, it just seems dead.
But it's so much money.
But it is a lot of money.
That's what I was gonna say.
They take multiple helicopters to go to their house in the Hamptons on a whim.
After having Thanksgiving dinner
unplanned
in their New York home, they all go, all right, let's get in the choppers and go out to the summer home or whatever you want to fucking call it.
Yeah.
And then there's the scene there where Kieran Culkin's character fucking lays it all out how shitty these people are.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's well acted. I hate everybody on the show. I want to see them all burn.
But that's the point, right?
But that's the point.
Right. So they're doing a good job.
They are.
Yeah.
It's very well acted.
It's really good, and there's there's that Game of Thrones kind of like there's a lot of cogs going on at the same time.
So if you want to feel good about watching human,
I don't know if this is a feel good show, but definitely if you're in the right mood for it, it's actually quite funny.
Yeah.
There's a very dark sense of humor to it that's just
and heck,
fiddling while the world burns, man.
James Cromwell has a part in it that he just showed up, and I was like, all right, yeah. Of course he would be a foil to a Brian Cox.
And then other media news, the Joker movie is about to come out. I actually thought this was released already, but because we've had so much fucking news headlines about it, but I guess it's not out yet. I think it comes out next week.
And tell me how the military feels about it, Dan.
So yeah, there's been a lot of interesting headlines about this movie this
I like
week.
that you say interesting headlines.
But one of the ones that really seems weird, and this is not even an exaggeration, the U.S. military issues warning about the Joker movie. Basically, warning its servicemen and women about going to theaters for the Joker movie because of the threat of incels. So even the U.S. military, with all of its problems with sexual abuse and war crimes, has issued a warning about incels possibly taking inspiration from the Joker movie, which is kind of an incel fantasy, power fantasy, to take revenge on the world and those kind of things. Another interesting, no real comment on that, just kind of, I guess making a movie like that where the villain is sympathetic and not redeemable. Like, it's not like the Joker has some kind of lost
He's
I
a
hate to say
serial killer.
I hate to say the word lost cause, but some kind of like
Tragic backstory
or
and like
or just like actual hard up and just misguided
yeah.
kind of like thing. It's like he's not misguided. He just wants to do violence on the world because he feels that the world owes him something, which unfortunately appeals to quite a bit of people like that, the kind of people that would shoot up a Walmart or something like that. And I feel like knowing more and more about the movie, it seems a little bit irresponsible.
And I had forgotten who directed this movie up until this week. Like I knew who the name at one point, and I forgot, and then it got brought up again this week. So this is being directed by Todd Phillips, who probably you'll know his biggest claim to fame was The Hangover.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, by all accounts, the movie itself as a movie is probably well directed and well acted. I mean, I don't think Joaquin Phoenix takes a movie off, kind of thing. The problem about it is probably its messaging, and also within this climate, and the way that message can be interpreted by, pretty awful segments of society. And I also kind of hesitate to kind of bring that up because I wouldn't want people to make art or like, I guess, self-censor themselves with art just because of the dregs of our society will misinterpret it, and I'm kind of veering close to that edge. But in some ways it's also, I don't know, just seems a little haphazard to make a mainstream comic book movie with that kind of messaging.
I feel like the two messages that I've gotten from interviews with both Joaquin Phoenix and the director. There was a comment today that I saw that his quote was, "I don't understand why people are getting so upset about the Joker killing a bunch of people. Nobody said anything about John Wick being a white guy killing hundreds of people."
I think that was a really poor analogy.
Highly poor, yeah. I mean, to the max. And then,
why do you think it's poor, Chris?
Um,
Here, I'll tell you. It's because John Wick kills other assassins, and also John Wick is also, while being sympathetic, is also an assassin. Yeah. So he's just a bad guy killing bad people.
Yes.
Whereas the Joker is made to be like a sympathetic figure, but killing random people of society, people who have no skin in the game, and he's taking out his frustrations on those people.
On the
John Wick
populace,
John Wick is a revenge fantasy.
Yes.
Revenge because of his dog.
He killed his dog.
But these people were mean to him, and he's out to get them. And he would stop if they would stop trying to get him. Whereas the Joker doesn't have a stopping point.
Nope.
And there is no revenge in the Joker. It's, you have aggrieved me, and I am going to now kill everybody.
Yes.
And that's a pretty piss poor thing to make a movie out of. Granted, this movie takes a lot of its, I mean, at least from the early reports, I mean, it's kind of Taxi Driver and King of Comedy in those kind of ways. And
Taxi Driver never. The thing I saw is that Taxi Driver never tried to make you sympathize with Travis Bickle.
No, and also it's not in the framework of a mainstream comic book movie, which it is.
Yep.
And
they're trading on. Sorry, I didn't interrupt you there, Chris, but they're trading on the fact that this has the Joker name attached to it.
Yeah,
he cut me off. No, I know he cut me off.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
The other part was Joaquin Phoenix was asked point blank, how do you feel about portraying a character that is seen as inspirational in terms of potentially causing violence? And he walked away from the question, like literally walked away from the interviewer. Yeah, he came back, but he could not conceptualize or understand why that was a question that would even be asked of him, which tells you a lot about both the main character, the person portraying the main character, and then going back to what the director said, there's just a total lack of understanding of context within the day and age we're in, political climate,
and also the kind of movie that it's being marketed as.
Exactly.
I mean,
which they don't have any control over that. But
no.
To not understand that the content you're creating within the context of society at large, like you're living with your head underground, and that's.
I like to always harken back to when it kind of comes to this. I guess this kind of impasse about like what, you know, what you owe as an artist to society, like your I mean, you know, what context and those kind of things. I like to always think of, and I hate to bring him up twice in this podcast, but I mean, Chappelle's like walking away from his Chappelle show, basically because he feels like people weren't getting the joke. They were not in on the joke with him, like with the racist stuff, and people were like not seeing that and basically doing the South Park thing. They were laughing at him, not laughing with him. And that's one of the reasons why he walked away from that. And knowing that thing where you're like, yeah, the actual thesis of your art is one thing, but the audience and the public in general are interpreting it another way. And you, as an artist, also have some moral obligation of, hey, maybe I shouldn't put stuff out that is like this. But then again, I also veer to, I don't want to say that you can't do a certain kind of thing, because fuck the rest of the world. Anyway, so games. We have some games. Chris finished games. I don't think that's a game that got released.
No, but there's 2 games that I finished.
There's 2 exclamation points in this thing.
I was excited. I got excited. I beat 2 games.
Okay. So 2 exclamation points for 2 games. I got it.
Well, how many would you expect to see for 2 games?
I like your art, and I like the interpretation of
it.
it.
The thesis of my art versus how the public interprets it.
I'm thinking about theme.
Chris, you don't finish games.
Man Against Society. What did you finish?
John, you're right. I generally don't finish games.
Oh, yeah, you finished games that were like 45 minutes long?
Fuck, Dan.
You pay full price for it?
No, go ahead. Tell me what I played. Tell me about them. Tell me how I like them, Dan.
Okay, so you played Fez with pop songs, and then you played
Damn.
Hitman Furries.
Hitman Goose.
Hitman Furries.
Yeah, no. Thanks, Dan. Next topic.
So, no. Okay, Chris, how is Sayonara Wild Hearts?
It's good. Fuck.
I fucked this podcast.
It's all good.
No, it's
we'll fix it in post.
As a video game, I was telling we were talking about this earlier. If you didn't have the music, it's a kind of a lackluster game. It's an experience. The music makes that game.
I think the visuals are pretty striking.
But they don't in a video game playthrough. They don't do anything special.
True.
It's an experience. It's a really good. The music makes the game. I've listened to that soundtrack now 4 or 5 times through. It was a wonderful time spent. Yes, it was only like an hour. To your point,
a visceral experience.
Broken up over 3 days, so like 20 minutes each, because kids get in the way of stuff. Yeah. They liked it though. We turned up the music because they were enjoying the tunes as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was. It was a very nice experience.
I want to actually play through it with the arcade mode, like the unlock, which is where it's all one unbroken experience.
Yeah, same.
If it doesn't have at least 25 to 45 hours of gameplay, I don't feel that it's worth more than $10.
Would you like to take to the Joker?
Does it have multiplayer? Because I feel like I only pay $14.99 for that.
It wouldn't be
I'll
difficult
wait for
to
it
implement.
On a Steam sale.
God, fuck you.
It's the cost, it's the cost of what we used to pay before $9.99 became pretty much the standard for CDs that you would pay for a CD.
Yeah, I value is all relative. Yeah. I played the demo at PAX, and it was John that got me on the game, and it was so nice to listen to and play and look at. I'm not saying I would have paid a whole lot more than 15 or 20, but it.
Oh God! Now we're just
I know,
doing
right?
This, huh?
You're doing that. You brought it there.
So, if you were to describe Sayonara Wild Hearts into like one visceral word and feeling, how did it affect you?
I won't, because you'll misinterpret my art and my intent.
Fuck off.
Yes.
All right, and
John. Any more on that, John?
We talked about this last week. I was a big proponent of it. It's like I said, play the game, watch through the credits, enjoy the Easter egg at the end of it.
It's so good. It's so good.
Man, I fucked that up. I was gonna make a Nick Fury MCU joke, and I forgot what his name was.
Samuel L. Jackson?
I was going to say Sam Fury.
Sam Fury, yeah.
That's not his name.
Fury.
My OC. Sam Fury.
And then the other game, I guess both of you played, right? Oh,
I have
John
not
hasn't
played
played
this
it
yet.
So, Chris, exclusive from Chris from UniqueDrops.com. Ask for it by name. He has played Untitled Goose Game.
Yes, I have.
So has the rest of the world. It seems like
yes,
on my Twitter
that,
feed,
I think that's really the big story.
What's her face and John Legend's wife? I'm sorry,
Chrissy Teigen.
Yeah, Chrissy Teigen.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I thought you were the one who retweeted it.
No.
Oh, so
That was not me.
she posted on her Twitter, what is
It was
up
good.
with this Goose game on
good.
Switch?
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna have to get John to buy it. or
She's like,
something
I can't. I gotta wait for John to get home because
Yeah.
he's the adult.
because he's the adult. Yeah,
Her Twitter's great.
Yeah, her Twitter is
She's a
pretty
good follow.
great.
I did not see that.
She got no time for bullshit on her
Okay,
Twitter.
Chris, tell me about the Untitled Goose game.
Everybody knows the fuck that Goose game is.
I don't know what
It's-
this Goose game is. Actually, I do, but
So
I
why
wanna
did you
hear-
say that then?
I want to hear your
For the
words.
layman,
I want to
Chris.
hear your
I don't-
unique drop.
Fuck.
I mean, I can describe it. I haven't played it, but I know what it is.
Well, that's what. Yeah.
Well, what do you? What's your take on it so far? Since you beat the game, you
it's
have
as
to have
good as
some kind of
everybody
opinion.
is making it out to be. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
giant Hitman style game where every level has beats and it's a what's the word? It's like a clock. Everybody's going through motions.
Yeah.
And you go through and manipulate all these individuals into doing something in order to achieve objectives.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I wrote in my piece on the website,
UniqueDrops.com.
I picked up a little boy's toy airplane.
Yeah.
Because there's a little bubble above his head. And every so often he'd go, I'm going to play with my airplane.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm taking your fucking airplane.
Yep.
I put the airplane by a phone booth.
Mm.
He wanted to see his airplane, walked over to it. I snuck up behind him and honked because there's one of your 4 abilities is honk.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The other one was to pick up, as I said. You can waddle faster,
Yeah.
and then you can flap your wings.
That goose walk is very good.
Does the wing flapping do anything other than just?
I won't spoil it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
you can do a thing with your wing flap.
Okay, cool.
So I scared this little boy into locking himself inside of the phone booth.
Yeah.
Then I got to check something off of my list. That was on my list of things to do.
Yep.
Put the boy in the phone booth.
Just trap the boy in the phone booth. The cool part was then the guy next door in his electronics shop came out. To help the little boy, I snuck into his electronics shop while he was away. I flipped a switch, and then I put myself on all the TVs in his window.
Nice.
And then I got to check something else off my list, which is to be on TV.
Did you preen?
What I want to know is
No, I did not. I
why
just
does
honked.
why does this goose have a list of things to do?
That is the mystery.
Uh-huh.
That is the real... Who is driving this, right?
Yeah.
Why do people... I won't...
I gotta say,
there's
goose,
a reason.
The goose has got beautiful
It
handwriting.
all
actually
leads up
gets
to something.
It actually
Oh.
gets into it.
It leads up to something. There's
Okay.
a reason you're doing all these things in order to progress to the next area.
Cool.
But it's really cool. The level designs in the way that everybody has a pattern that they're following and you're manipulating in order to achieve objectives. Super clever. It is Goose Hitman in that way.
Systems driven. Yeah.
The music is dynamic, is one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
So as you're waddling around, it's silent. But then if you pick something up or you go to scare somebody, a little bit of music will just pop in with like a flute or something like that.
And I read that was like they actually got feedback on that, which is why they added the dynamic stuff. Like there was when they were early testing the game, like one of the pieces they got was adding that dynamic music, right?
Yeah, I
And-
just read that too.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy that like something simple like that can add so much to a game.
Yes, it's really funny. It gets harder. It actually, the last level took me probably 45 minutes to an hour. So I got a few hours into the game, but yeah, super creative, hilarious to watch and make things happen. I haven't gone back because I've seen people now. Like one guy took every movable object from the game and put it into one corner of the world. So like there are things people are doing now to manipulate how that game works, including the 4-minute speed run that I just posted in our Discord. Yeah, there's so much just built into that world.
Looking
in
forward to
detail.
seeing it at AGDQ 2020.
Yeah, people were talking about that. Are they going to patch out those ability to make shortcuts, or does it just become like an optimization thing where it's 3.5 minutes?
I
instead
put
of
the
4?
over under of 5 weeks before we see the Shrek mod, and it's just the Untitled Shrek game.
Donkey.
All right, John, you've been playing Link's Awakening.
Yes, I finished Control, and after I finished Control, I started up Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening is that game. Did you play Link's Awakening?
Are you upset about Control?
Did I steal your
You
thunder?
got a face.
We have agenda here.
I know, and I'm giving you context on where it started. I finally finished Control, therefore I had a new game I could play. My goal to myself was do not start Link's Awakening until you finish Control. So I finished Control.
Okay.
Started playing Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening is the Game Boy game with entirely new visuals. It is that game. Everybody has said it who has played that game before. It is adorable. It is charming. It addresses Dan's complaint from Breath of the Wild. Yes, I'm bringing up old beefs.
Weapons don't break.
I would like to.
Two things,
I would like to be on record that I did not bring up Breath of the Wild.
Of course you did.
In my top 4.
I'd like to bring up that I did not bring Breath of the Wild into this conversation or into this podcast.
Strucken from the record.
The court recognizes that Dan did not bring up Breath of the Wild. Therefore, I'm bringing up Breath of the Wild. But Dan's beefs with Breath of the Wild is what I'm bringing up. This game has constant music on the overworld while you're walking around, so you get the orchestrated Zelda theme as you're walking around the world, which is good. I mean, that music's good. Also, the game does not have weapons that break. I mean, so there's two things. Chris worked it out for me. So
yeah.
Yeah. But it is that game. It looks gorgeous. The performance issues are a thing that happens in this game, which is, as everyone I've listened to talk about it has said, is surprising for a first-party Nintendo game.
I did find out they farmed that out to somebody.
So it was not developed in-house? Okay. Well, I mean, it's got the Nintendo seal of approval.
No, I'm here to cover for them.
Yeah, you're gonna
I'm
make
caving,
sure
I'm
Nintendo's
caving for Nintendo all day,
so you
every
bought
day,
your
baby.
Mario Kart subscription?
Listen, Joy-Con drift is just a feature. It's helping you along.
It's giving it a more
Mario
cinematic...
Kart subscription. Tangent. I just saw today that they made $1 million in 24 hours on Mario Kart.
Because it's you guys.
I didn't even
I
download
didn't
it.
subscribe to it.
It's you guys.
I didn't download it either.
It's
I didn't
you
want to
guys.
play the
It's
game.
It's y'all people.
I was amazed. I didn't know people were so into Mario Kart that way.
Mario Kart's very popular. I just don't. I have a level that I will not go to.
I love Mario Kart, but I won't pay $5.99 a month for it.
$4.99.
But how did they... It's on free trial. They made $1 million in revenue. What did they buy? What are people buying?
They bought the subscription.
Dan's agenda. I'm getting tangential. Son! So
I am through I've gotten through 3 dungeons in Link's Awakening. And I'll admit, I never actually finished the Game Boy game. I remember getting to a certain point in that game and being completely lost and not knowing where to go. So I will be looking forward to actually finishing this game.
I've heard that because it hasn't changed, you're probably still gonna have to go look up FAQs.
I might at some point. I will give a hint to everybody. If you feel like you don't know where to go next, just go back and talk to everybody you can, because you might have a weird item in your inventory.
Spoilers
that needs to be given to somebody, because that's just a constant through line throughout that game. Is there's a I'll give you this, you give me something in return thing that goes throughout that game. And at one point I got to a point and I was like, where am I supposed to go? And it turned out I just needed to talk to somebody, and then I got a new item. So
I'm gonna hate that. I have yet to play the game because Crystal and Lionel have been playing, so it's not even something that I can speak to. She's on the second dungeon or something like that.
Okay.
He likes it. They're having fun.
It's a good game. It's not hard, which is good. Like it's actually a pretty good Zelda to start out with, because like I've been pretty much breezing through that game. It's got they added a new mechanic where you can talk to. There's one of the people in the world who you can talk to, who will give you the ability to basically revive after you die.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you also there's a bottle with a fairy in it, so you basically can get 3 lives every time, and it's not hard to get the fairies or go back to that house to get the treatment that gives you the revive. So.
Oh, and because fuck your agenda, Dan, I'm gonna go backwards. Goose game. Lionel loves that shit. He's having the most fun.
He's
honking at everything. Yes. Yeah. It's so bad. He's just laughing
at people now.
Yeah. Oh, like in real life?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
He knows better than to honk. Oh, and maybe he doesn't. We better have that
Honking at
conversation.
You might want to just
Yeah.
have that
Honk,
conversation.
honk, honk. Did you see that Austin Walker
Yes.
voiceover?
Oh my god, it
Honk.
slayed me. Fuck you.
Fuck off.
Yeah, honk,
Honk.
fuck off. I literally watched it 3 times
good.
because of that.
Oh, I
little bit
lost
right
it.
there. It was
I lost
great.
it. But yeah,
Really good.
kids love the Goose Game, and it's really cool because there's no stakes whatsoever, so they can just
Yeah,
go
there's
around
no
and
really
fail state.
they
Yeah.
harass people.
Yeah.
That's safe space.
And I haven't really been playing anything new, so we can move on to games.
What were you streaming
new.
last weekend? I missed the name.
Oh, Grim Dawn. It's a action RPG that came out, I don't know, 5 years ago. at
It's
this
an old,
point.
yeah, it's in one of the older ones.
And
They keep doing content
They
updates,
keep,
right?
yeah, they keep putting out. They have like 2 expansions, and that game is long. Like I think I actually beat it on that stream on Saturday, and that was like 40, 50 hours into it.
And there's still more content?
And then I have the 2 expansions to go through. I know, right?
So you just
and
barely
then we
beat the main campaign.
Yeah, and then we started over again because our friend Bryce, friend of the Discord,
Yeah.
wanted to play with us. So like now I'm like level 20.
Shout outs to our friend and game dev.
Yeah,
Bryce.
shouts to Bryce.
Game dev. Okay, game news. So we had the Sony State of Play and Inside Xbox both on Tuesday.
No new news in there, really. Was there?
I think there was a couple games that we might have not seen too much of before.
State of Play for sure.
Yeah, they had Humanity. I don't.
Oh,
think I've
that's
seen
right.
That game.
That's the new one from the developers of Tetris Effect and Res Infinite.
Yeah,
so.
I don't really know what that game's
It looked
about.
like weird Pikmin or something.
Yeah, it looked like Pikmin with
people,
and then guns and shooting at people.
With their musical,
Yeah.
with
Except
their
all the
musical
people
background.
look white. I'm just saying, just on first glance, they all look like white people.
He's not wrong.
Anyway,
Death Stranding PS4 with the PP orange controller.
Yeah, and so I mean, in the big story of next year, all the games coming out next year, The Last of Us 2 is going to be in February 21st, 2020. I don't know what that was.
Windows heard you, Dan.
The Windows is excited. Last of Us 2 is coming out in February 21st, 2020, to add to the multitude of games that are coming out in the last year of life for this current generation.
Everyone lost their shit when Joel showed up.
Yeah.
I thought that was a thing already. Was that the first reveal that he was?
I think that's the first time they revealed him actually showing up in the game.
Okay.
Like,
I guess
I think it was always assumed. I like I said, I had the similar mindset of the way like the giant Brad Shoemaker talks about it, like, and I felt the same way when I played the game. Is that was a very self-contained story that didn't, and they apparently Naughty Dog feels the same way. They feel that was a very set story that like didn't really need to be expanded upon, but this story that they wanted to tell could only be told in the medium of video games.
But capitalism. So we have a sequel.
Always got to make the sequel.
Make that money.
There's very few games I think that are successful.
We've had
that first party level that doesn't have a sequel.
And the other thing I will mention is that
I mean, you guys are playing John is playing a remake, and your family's playing a remake of a game that is a umpteenth sequel of a video game.
Yep.
So the other thing I'll say about The Last of Us is that this trailer actually gave more context about what's going on in that game than anything else they've shown up to this point.
Okay.
Which actually makes me interested in it. Because that first game, I know I'm the only one who's actually finished it. I know you started to play it, Dan, but I think you dropped off of it at one point.
Mine's still in the cellophane. I haven't opened it. I should do that.
But it was one of the most. It was a very affecting story. Like that and the recent God of War have been two of Sony's like better original IPs that they've had very good stories with. So,
I guess I could say that on games I played, since we're just messing around with the agenda today. I did beat Gears of War 4 and Gears of War 5 last week. I think both.
Gears 5.
Gears
Dan.
5. Sorry, Gears
Please
5.
Stay on brand.
There is still a war, but now it's all about emotions.
Have you finished the fight?
No!
This is not Halo.
No, I have not finished the fight.
Yeah.
Because both of those games end on the same fucking note. I guess we gotta go fight some more. Here's a necklace. Fuck you.
What did I just something capitalism? Go get that money. Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Oh my god. But I will say Gears 5 is a remarkably much better game than Gears of War 4 by multitudes. I was really struggling to finish 4 and kind of half falling asleep and kind of half mad at the game.
Wow.
You were hate sleeping?
Yeah,
Gears of War 4?
there's whole parts of the game where you're only fighting robots, and chainsawing a robot is not the same as chainsawing flesh.
The locust.
Wow.
It's not as much fun. And it's not as much fun when you pop a dude with a shotgun versus, pop a robot with a shotgun and he just crumbles to pieces, where you pop a dude in with a shotgun and he just explodes
into
its
viscera?
organic mass
Fair.
and viscera. It's just not as much fun.
Potato.
The open world of Gears of War, Gears 5,
Gears
5 is heavily exaggerated. That lasts for one act, and if you're not careful, you're probably done with it in about an hour. Unless you want to really look around at everything, it's kind of almost pointless.
So how does this tie into Funko Pop Gears?
They both suck. Anyway,
Wow.
I will say Gears 5 is a lot better. I'm gonna probably drop its rating down a couple marks because I can't call it Gears of War 5 because fuck everything.
Gears.
But I wouldn't have
gonna
bought
tell you
or played that game if it wasn't on my Xbox Game Pass. So
fair.
Yeah.
So it was good use of your Xbox Game Pass,
very good use of
but
my.
not necessarily
Game Pass.
a game that you would have
$60.
bought otherwise.
There was no way I would have bought that for. I don't care for. Yeah.
Okay.
I only had Gears 4. Well, that's on the Game Pass too, but I had Gears 4 before. But that was a free game because of my video card.
Mm-hmm.
A site favorite, WATTAM,
Yeah.
has a release window. They say December 2019. It's not a date because there's no actual number
It's true.
there, so we don't know.
Could slippery slope.
You never know.
I think it's going to be before Christmas.
2020 is right there. Could just.
We'll see. I mean, I don't like December releases. It's too late. But the game's probably going to be cool.
Chris, you and your kids are going to have a freaking blast with that thing.
Oh, dude, Lionel honking at people, and then now he's gonna be able to eat stuff, poop it out, put it in the toilet.
Explode.
Oh, he's gonna lose his
Yeah,
shit.
WATTAM by the creator of Katamari Damacy, and we have met him, and he's a very nice man.
Yes.
Yeah, Dan did an interview with him at
During
PAX 20,
right after it got announced.
15 or
right?
16. Yeah,
Yeah.
we played one of the earliest builds, and go check out our YouTube page. Got that.
It's been a long time
And then you
coming.
got to check in
It's
on
on
it
a
this
different
year
YouTube
finally.
page. Yes, I got to play the more updated build. It felt the same.
But it had
Yeah, it's
progression.
more
now.
refined, has
there's-
progression,
Yeah, there's
yes.
an actual
More characters.
In other news, what the fuck is Afterparty coming on October 29th? John is excited about it,
Yes.
I think. Oh, I should not read all of the notes.
That's fine. You can totally read off the script. So
Not a script. Agenda.
agenda.
These are minutes.
Yes. I would like to do the roll call for the board meeting
Are
this
you
week.
taking notes on a fucking criminal conspiracy?
So Afterparty is the latest game that's coming out from the developers of a game I really had strong feelings for when it came out, which was Oxenfree.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's an actress that I really like who's doing one of the voices for it. She's been promoting it pretty heavily. She's also very into games. She's a friend of the Giant Bomb site, Janina Gavankar. She does one of the voices of the characters. The premise I like. I think it's kind of wacky. The two characters have been sent to hell after they die, and they have found a loophole to get out of hell, which is they have to outdrink the devil, if I'm not mistaken. That's the goal of the game.
That's what I've heard.
It looks like it's got some weird, wacky like mini game stuff in it that they showed during the trailer that they were playing during that state of play. Or no, was that during the Xbox one? I can't remember. They were both the same.
I think it was State of Play.
Okay, so yeah, that comes out
I think you said October 29th.
October 29th. So I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I like what their last game was. And I'll be interested to see them do something more comedic, because the last game was definitely more like suspenseful and like tension kind of
dramatic.
thing. It's a dramatic tension kind of game. So
I watched the Xbox announcement of this game as well, and I don't know if oversensitivity is a thing, but the dev started going on about how they treated all religions equally, and hell is a representation of all of them. And I'm like,
it's usually a version of hell in most.
Yeah,
it's different.
It's just when you call it out as something that you're citing, like you just say hell, and everybody's going to be kind of okay. This is your interpretation, but then you go and try to add this weird level of context. I just hope they don't just step on people, as many unintentionally do when they try to cite cultural touchstones. So
this game is made by a diverse group of people with many faiths.
I hope so.
No, I was quoting the Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But I believe that
before every game.
Oh no!
Actually, do they still do that? Do they still do that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
Fingers crossed. It looked pretty funny. It had some really good beats. So
yeah.
All right. So we already talked about the Untitled Goose Game taking over the zeitgeist. Honk honk honk. XCOM 2 stats. I guess there was. I don't know why this was in the news, but I guess some of the devs or something, or
they just posted an infographic.
I don't know why, but I'm sure it's been a couple years since your game got released, and I think a year after the expansion. But 87% of people played easy to the easiest setting.
Yeah.
So why did you want to highlight this, Chris?
Because fuck off with your difficulty shit.
Basically, that was basically it.
I know where you're at.
I think it's really interesting that the get good culture that we, it seems like it's so central to everything that gets talked about.
Yeah.
The vocal minority is really what that ends up being, where 13% of people thought themselves to try the hard or harder difficulty. And as Bryce pointed out, where's the normal difficulty? Why is it easy and easiest and hard and harder?
Yeah.
You guys are kind of silly with that.
Yeah, I mean, my feelings on it is that I think most, if all games, should have some kind of easy or easier setting. I usually play things on medium to hard, or Witcher 3, I played it on Death March. At the same time, I feel like if developers want to make a game that's really hard, they don't necessarily have an obligation to make it an easy game. I mean, I get the reasons for it, to have more access to stuff, but at the same time, I feel like if part of the reason for that game to be around is it's because of its difficulty, kind of like Cuphead.
Yeah.
If they had it would be kind of cool if there was. I would enjoy it because I was having a hard time with Cuphead. Maybe that would be really cool, but I don't know, if it's the developer's idea is that we want to make an extremely hard game, then that's fine. I guess I don't have the compulsion to play every game.
Yeah,
but on a whole, honestly, I think every game should have some kind of easy mode, and you should probably be able to change your difficulty while you're playing the game
on the fly, whenever you feel like
that. That's why I think recently Celeste is such a good example of a game that is really difficult, but the developers realized that hey, we actually want people to play this and finish it too, so we put in these assist modes that you can just turn on or at will.
Yeah,
and it's that compared to the Halo games where it's hey, we put it on this difficulty, but if you want to play Halo the way it's meant to be played, you got to put it on the one setting up.
Yeah, that's definitely a part of the culture that can just go fucking die.
It's the gatekeeping.
Hey, baby, shit your pants, easy mode. Haha. Was Doom the first game to do that? I don't even know.
Hurt Me Plenty, or what is
one of them.
Ultraviolence. What's the lowest one?
They didn't really have. I don't know. They didn't really make fun of you for picking a lower difficulty.
No.
They just had fun names for it, I want to say. It wasn't it was more that they were just making up different names for the easy and all that stuff.
Didn't Wolfenstein have that? Wasn't that the first game that had that, the scaling difficulty? Or Wolfenstein 3D, I should say, where it had the pictures. I know that there was a picture of the Doom guy with a pacifier in his mouth in one of the. I forget if that was one or
that
two.
That is true that they do that.
But
I'm Too Young to Die is like the easy one, and then Hurt Me Plenty, Ultraviolence, Nightmare.
That's right.
Yeah. Let's see.
But yeah, if you want people to enjoy your games,
right? And if your prerogative is this is meant to be gatekeep for only the people who want the most challenging of challenges, artistic intent and all that shit. That's a thing.
Just know that you're going to have a specific audience that's going to enjoy your game.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want. I mean, I wouldn't ever want like Paradox to make the Crusader Kings games like easy to get into, because like the whole point. I mean, no, because they've tried it with like Civilization Revolutions on the 360 was basically. I mean, I hate to use.
I played a bunch of that on the iPhone too, because that was the mobile version.
It's a super easy version.
Yep.
I mean, my favorite version of Football Manager was on my iPhone 3 or something like years ago, because it just pares it down to like you're just trading players and simulating stuff. Oh, that's another game I played. I played Football Manager 2019 because it was
on
Xbox Game Pass.
I've downloaded it and I haven't booted it up yet.
I went through 3 preseason games. One of them was my own team against under 19s. And that took like 3 hours to get through that much, because I was answering a lot of emails and doing a lot of interviews.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Traded away people. There's a social media tab. My supporters got mad that
it sounds like a job.
Bayern München took one of my players.
Yeah, that is. It is. That is.
But we did get 40 million euros for him. So I mean, that's twice as much of our transfer budget. I was playing as, I want to say, fuck, I forgot my team name. It was some like some mid-tier.
Are you in the Bundesliga, Dan?
I'm like in Bundesliga 2.
Okay.
Yep.
Which is what I did with Football Manager back in the day. I took leads from like Championship 2 to
the Premier League.
To Premier League, and won like, I don't know, 20 in a row.
Jeepus.
The only thing I couldn't win too many times in a row was the UEFA Cup. It's up to chance.
Yep.
Sometimes.
That's it. Yeah, cup tournaments.
Yeah.
I got one more piece of gaming news that I wanted to bring up briefly. I posted it. I don't think anybody reacted to it. Oculus had I
almost posted this, but I didn't.
Oculus had a thing this week.
I almost posted
Oculus Connect. They announced that the Quest, which I own, in 2020 is going to be adding hand tracking to their headsets. So
that damn hand tracking, you fuck.
Yeah. How's its hand tracking?
So basically, it means you don't have to use the controllers anymore.
Oh, okay.
You'll be able to actually just put on the headset and play the games with your just.
I didn't watch the thing. How does it know?
It's using the cameras because it has external facing cameras.
Yeah.
But like,
does it have haptic feedback on your fingers?
Not on your fingers. No.
Have you seen the thing that has that though?
No.
Yeah, there's like an exoskeleton that when you grab something in the virtual world, it won't let your fingers go any further. It's a weird, super prototype thing. It's a thing.
But yeah,
whole ass thing.
So they announced that, which I think is pretty incredible for VR to finally get to the space where they can use the cameras to learn how your hands are moving and be able to control the games without actually needing their devices. So I want to test it out. Like I'm excited about it. Like it's actually something that seems very cool.
Yeah, you love Facebook, don't you?
I love Oculus, but I bought all the headsets, Chris. So
you did.
I did. So I'm gonna use them. Damn it. The other thing they announced was a basically just a USB-C cable called the Oculus Link, which will allow you to play PC Oculus games on your Quest headset. But it's only one cable instead of like a big like 3 braided cable thing. So it'll connect through USB-C.
It still doesn't need the sensors and all that like the original because it's going to use its camera.
Yep.
That's pretty impressive.
So it'll be interesting to see how that works and then how the hand stuff works. Like, I'm glad to see that VR is still progressing. Yep. I know it has not blown up the way that anybody thought it would, but the experiences I have in that Quest headset were really cool, and the wireless portion of it is just the biggest thing.
Well, when I
So,
tried it, 3-4 weeks ago here, playing Beat Saber was dope.
Yeah.
You see that kid that plays Beat Saber with a staff?
So they're introducing a 360 mode for Beat Saber. So you'll have to go
That
turn
sounds-
in complete
That's
circle,
dangerous.
but awesome as well.
Sounds terrible. That's somebody's gonna get killed.
I'm gonna play American Truck Simulator in my car.
Sure.
That is
And then
real life.
I think
American-
they also announced
Because the roads don't match up to real life, so it'd be really hilarious.
They also announced one last thing, how they're going to use they're going to improve the like external camera view. So while you're in the headset, they're going to have a new version of the like, so you can see the world around you. Like if you're in the headset and you need to see what's going on around you.
Huh.
That was the other thing I saw. So VR is still a thing, guys.
I think it's interesting that it's still hardware improvements, which are important, but nobody really has a handle on how to leverage the hardware into a software
Because they're not good
effectively.
games yet.
Yes, that is the thing. Nobody
They're
can
fun.
quite.
They're fun experiences.
They're fun amusement things you would
Yeah.
play like at an arcade.
It's
for,
novel.
for tokens.
Yeah,
For tickets, so
And
I
that-
can trade in 300 for a stuffed animal.
Yeah.
Like that's cool, but like it's not. I mean,
give me the hollow deck.
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be cool.
I want to walk on a pad and have it feel like I'm walking around.
I don't play video games because I don't want physical activity.
That's why we're here.
We live in.
All right, I guess we're gonna do this top 10 games of the decade. It was a Twitter thread this week. It
Wow.
was
You get enthused about it, maybe.
Woo!
I-
Top 10 games of the decade.
beating back
Decade.
this rebellion. I am the bourgeoisie.
Cut it.
Top 10 games of the decade.
The birds work for the
guess
bourgeoisie.
Here are my top 10
You don't have to list them.
games of the decade.
No, go ahead.
Because
Go
I
ahead.
can't say I'm gonna cut
Just
one without
10. Go
having
quick.
the actual list.
10. Do it.
Witcher 3, PUBG,
Oh my-
DayZ Arma 2 mod, Super Mario Odyssey, Path of Exile, Cities Skylines, Crusader Kings 2, Monster Hunter World, XCOM, and Overwatch. And John said before the podcast, which one would we cut of the 10?
Which one
of our
would
10?
you cut?
I would probably cut.
Had all this time to think about it.
Or what would be number 11? What was the
I
hardest?
hope you have some fucking games on your list.
games.
I would
Fuck.
probably
What was
cut.
the hardest one
I
not to
would,
put on your
nope,
list?
Nope. I would
Okay.
probably cut Overwatch,
That's yeah.
Fair enough.
particularly how this the Overwatch game has evolved or devolved.
My surprise for
That's what
your
I was-
list,
That's what I was
Dan,
thinking.
was there was no Dota 2 on there.
Oh, I was playing Dota 2 before 2010.
Ooh,
I want to say. I
Doesn't
don't
count?
think Dota 2. Well, let's look. When did Dota 2 come out?
okay, John. What was your 10? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember offhand.
Let's see if I can.
I know that I had Breath of the Wild.
No, Dota 2 came out 2013. Yeah, that's fine.
There
I
you
don't-
is.
No, it was an
I
interesting
don't
like
care.
it was just
I don't
interesting.
care about
John,
Dota.
Witcher
Yes.
3, Mass Effect 2,
Yeah.
PUBG,
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, Stardew Valley,
Mhm.
Kentucky Route Zero,
Mhm.
Red Dead Redemption 2,
Mhm.
Mario
No.
Odyssey.
It was
Just
Red Dead,
one. Red
yeah,
Dead
yeah.
Redemption.
Mhm.
Mario Odyssey, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
I would probably, similar to what Dan was mentioning in the Discord, is I would probably take out Three Houses because it's too fresh. Because it came out this year.
So you think it might not have the legs, the longevity that these other games you named?
You
I don't
never
know. Yeah, you never know. That's the thing. Like it's too
I
fresh.
was really into Dota 2 at some point.
Yeah, like
Back in 2013.
I could care less about that game now.
like honestly, I could put Sayonara. I would say just because of how good that game was, Sayonara Wild Hearts. But I want to give myself space when it comes to something like that.
Yeah, bro.
Okay, Chris. What's your game list, huh?
Top 10, Chris.
What? Pokemon?
A half cup of butter, 3/4 cups
That's
of
like
granulated
that's
white
jam
sugar.
chose tea cake,
nope,
tea
Oh.
cookie
nope.
recipe.
2 packages of instant Thai
That's
tea.
no.
No?
A picture of the goose.
So I got to 4. I got
Okay.
Goose Game.
Goose-
Untitled Goose Game is
Uh-huh.
number 1 on my list.
Best game ever.
Hyper Light Drifter,
Uh-huh.
Red Dead Redemption 2, Breath of the Wild, Nier Automata are my 5.
Okay.
The Goose Game was kind of a joke, so that wasn't. I actually really did like the game, and I half jokingly put it on there. But if I was those last
If
4,
you're gonna take off one, it'd be Breath of the Wild. Anyway, thanks everybody for coming.
Wow.
Listening to our podcast.
Dan has
I
just
am
been
your
steamrolling me all night.
beautiful,
I think you meant Red Dead Redemption 2, right, Chris?
beautiful host, Dan with UniqueDrops.com. As for by name, I'm.
Fuck that guy.
Thank you as always
Dota
for
2
joining me,
loving.
my two compatriots.
PUBG.
Chris, how you feeling?
Daisies? Put Daisy
Hey,
on his
hey.
It's being completely
I
unprofessional.
will
At this
defend
moment.
PUBG.
You defend shit. This Daisy.
PUBG got me to play a multiplayer competitive
Monster
game
Hunter World
for over
Like,
500 hours.
Chalky much? You chalky chalk? Putting up everybody else's.
Wow.
What do you put on the board?
Salt.
Everybody else's answers too.
Just sprinkling
What are
the
you
salt.
talking about? Everyone's answers. I have DayZ on that fucking list. I do. Somebody who doesn't pick everybody else's things. I have Path of
Pick the
Exile.
Arma mod.
I have
Is it a
2
game?
Paradox games.
Yeah.
I have more indie games than John has on his list.
Oh, shots fired! John's chalky as shit.
God damn.
Actually, how many indie games do I technically have? PUBG is technically indie.
John's got 2.
DayZ, the mod, is an indie game. Path of Exile is, well, I mean, it was indie. It's now owned by Chinese people.
Sure, qualifies. Yeah.
City Skylines and Crusader Kings are Paradox. That's an indie.
multi-million-dollar indie games.
Well, I mean,
Triple I guess, counts
Listen,
as indie
I'm
now.
fucking on fire. All right. Fuck.
I mean,
It
technically,
wasn't made by
this-
one developer
Burn this
in
motherfucker
a basement for 4 years. Don't fucking count as indie. You got a studio with a Twitter handle and a name.
down. That's it. Yeah.
You're a publisher.
yeah, this is the.
So Untitled Goose Game is the best
I mean, John
game.
John would have
the
as
decade.
indie games. It'd be PUBG, Stardew, Kentucky Route Zero.
Yeah.
And then Chris
Hyper Light Drifter.
has Hyper Life Drifter
And that's
Goose
it.
Game. That's
Yep.
an indie game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are definitely indie games.
All right. Well, I'm your lovely and always wonderful and correct host. As always, I am Dan. UniqueDrops.com. Ask for it by name. I am joined by my two compatriots. As always, thank you very much, Chris.
Yeah, Dan. Thanks, Dan.
Oh, always a pleasure.
Pleasures.
And John.
All right, you go mid, Dan. I'm gonna go bottom, and then Chris
No,
will
I
go top.
jungle.
Okay.
No, I'm just support. I never learned how to actually play that game. I played support, and I bought wards.
In the rear with the gear.
I bought wards.
Did you buy wards?
Yep.
Why didn't you buy wards?
I always buy wards. I'm not even going to buy any of my junk because I can't make money in that game. I'm very bad at last hitting, so I never have any money. But
Why
god
don't
damn
you
it,
have
I'm
BKB?
buying fucking wards. No, as a support, there's no reason to ever buy.
This is why they made auto chess for people like you.
Yeah, I was very good. I retired undefeated.
Bots are easy to kill.
Anyway, we will see you
McFarland did Midoriya wrong.
Damn, son.
all. Yes, I mean, I guess breaking news right before the podcast.
Oh.
One of my favorite reviewers for toy stuff is the Foosh. Robo on the Foosh. He had the first wave of My Hero Academia figures from McFarland Toys. And while being much cheaper than any of the overseas stuff, it is also looks much cheaper. And unfortunately, Midoriya looks
They ruined our
like
sweet boy.
my sweet, precious boy that must be protected at all costs. Looks like a zombie.
And All Might looks like he was.
All Might looks like a toy of All Might
Yep.
in Midoriya's
Room. It's a standee of All Might.
And beware in a couple weeks when season 4 of My Hero Academia,
We're gonna be insufferable.
season 4 of My Hero
Ooh,
Academia
We're
starts.
gonna bring so much anime.
This
to
is
the
going to just
Discord.
become My Hero Academia podcast.
Perfect.
My podcast
like,
academia.
My time.
No, Chris is
come.
like, my plan is now complete.
Yeah. Video games. What are those?
what's anime?
We're gonna talk about impeachment politics and My Hero Academia. It will be called My Impeachment Academia.
Two
What did
great
that sticker
taste-
say? No
taste
waifu, no laifu.
And that's
God,
where we're gonna
God
end
goes.
this.
God, what? God makes a way.
God makes a way. No laifu, no waifu. Thank you,
Damn it.
and good night.
Bye.